Good morning. This is a study guide answer key for the 6A through 6C summative quiz. This is your practice. So these are all the answers to the practice quiz. After you go through this, if you have questions, please make sure you message your teacher before you try to take your actual quiz because it is a summative assessment. All right, so our first question is, what is the opposite of the number that is graphed on the number line? So if we look at our number line, we see the point is at positive 5. And you might remember that opposites are positive and negative numbers. So the opposite of positive 5 would be negative 5. The opposite of positive 4 would be negative 4, and so on. And so the opposite of positive 5 is going to be our negative 5 here. So you should have chosen, or you should choose the negative 5 there. All right, the next question then doesn't have a number line, but it asks us what is the opposite of 11? So the opposite of 11 is going to be negative 11. The integers, positive and negative integers, are opposite of each other. So positive 11 has an opposite of negative 11. And I've got to switch my sheet here to find my negative 11. And so we would choose negative 11 as the opposite of 11. The next one is to find the absolute value. Remember that absolute value is always a positive, because absolute value tells you distance, and distance always has to be in a positive direction. So absolute value is just telling you how many units away from 0 the number is. So for the absolute value of 5, the answer is 5. So this is not the same as opposites. Absolute value and opposites are different things. Absolute value is the number of units a number is from 0. Opposites are the positive and negatives of the same number. Okay, so the absolute value of 5, and that's what these little goalpost signs mean. That means absolute value. The absolute value of 5 is 5. 5 is 5 units away from 0 on a number line. So for our next one then, the absolute value of negative 15. Negative 15 is 15 units away from 0 on the number line. So the answer for this one is also positive 15. Again, remember, whenever you see these little goalposts, that means absolute value, and absolute value is a positive number. All right, let's go on to number 5 here. Number 5 says to use our inequality symbols, use the less than, greater than, or equal to symbol to make a true statement by filling in our circle. So negative 7 and negative 1. Remember that with the negative numbers, if both numbers are negative, it goes the reverse of what we're used to. Negative 7 is a smaller number than negative 1. Remember, we could put that on a number line if we wanted to. If this is 0, negative 1 would follow 0, and then several digits later, we would find negative 7. So the further left you are on a number line, the smaller your number is. So negative 7 is less than negative 1. So we would put a less than symbol in there, and we would choose that less than symbol down here. All right, same thing for number 6. Use those inequality symbols to make a true statement by filling in our circle. We've got 11 compared to negative 11. So negative numbers are further to the left on the number line than the positive numbers. If we look at our number line up here, our positive numbers are going to be over here. So those positive numbers are further to the right. That means they're bigger than the negative numbers. And so 11 is greater than negative 11. And then we would choose our greater than symbol here. All right, question 7 asks us to use those symbols again to decide whether negative 2 or 0 is greater. So again, remember our number line, 0 divides the positive integers from the negative integers. The negative integers fall over here. The positive integers fall over here. Further to the right you are, the bigger you are. So 0 is further to the right of negative 2. So 0 is bigger than negative 2. I also like to think about this in terms of money. I'd rather have $0 than be $2 in debt. So 0 is bigger than negative 2. So we would want a less than symbol here. Less than symbol, because negative 2 is less than 0. All right, number 8 asks us what quadrant the point is in, and our point is right here. And remember, our quadrants are numbered counterclockwise. So this is 1, and this is 2, and this is 3, and this is 4. All right. So, and oftentimes you'll see those as Roman numerals. They would look like this: 1, 2, 3, and 4. And so you can see that our point here is in quadrant 2. And so we would mark quadrant 2 right here. Lost it. Must have been at the bottom of that page. Let me get that back. So we would mark our quadrant 2. It's at the bottom of this page. There we go. Should have chosen 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alrighty, number 9 is a similar question. It says, what quadrant is our point in? And again, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can think about it if you're a Chicago Cubs fan or a Cincinnati fan. It makes a C if you're going in the right direction. Okay, it makes a C if you're going in the right direction. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Our point is in 4. So we would choose 4 here. All right, question 10. Question 10 says, what ordered pair names the graphed point? So remember that this is our x-axis and this is our y-axis, and our ordered pairs are always alphabetically x, y. And you learned in your notes that if you made an x and collapsed it, you'd have a straight line. And so this is your x-axis. And if you made a y with your hands and collapse it, you would make a vertical line. And so this is your y-axis. And so our xy here is, first we go to our x, so we go over 7. Here's 6, here's 8, so this is 7. And then we go up 1, 2, 3. So we're looking for the point 7, 3. Over 7, up 3. And so that is our very first choice down here, 7, 3. All right, that's number 10. Number 11 says, which ordered pair names the graphed point again? All right, so we're going to choose our x first. We have to go from 0 over -5. Here's -4, here's -6. So this is -5, so our x is -5. And then we have to go down 1, 2, 3. So that's a -3 because going down on our graph grid is an negative direction, and so we're looking for the point -5, -3, and I find that right there. Alrighty, then on to question 12. Question 12 says the ordered pair that names point U is 2, -1. If you reflect point U across the x-axis, what new ordered pair would you get? Some of you messaged me because you were confused about this, so this would be a good one to spend some time with here. So first of all, we need to remember that we're reflecting across the x-axis. And remember, this is the x-axis right here. So we want this point to be mirror imaged across this line. If I was holding a mirror up here, where would it fall? And so we're just going to go over to that point, and then instead of going down, we're going to go up the number of spaces. So this is over 2 and down 1, so we're going to go over 2 and up 1. So this would be the reflection of U across X. It's just saying put the new point the same number of spaces away from X as the first point was. And we actually haven't talked about this much, but they call that U prime. It looks like that. The new point has that little dash on it. You don't need to know that. That's just bonus information for you. All right, so the point we're looking for is +2, +1. And we have that right here. That is our third choice down, +2, +1. Right now, 13 is very similar. It says the ordered pair that names U is 2, -1, so same ordered pair. But now instead we want to reflect it across the y-axis. So let's look at that problem. Okay, so reflecting that across the y-axis. First of all, let's identify the y-axis. That's this one right here. So we want to take this point and we want to put it in the same spot, but on the other side of the y-axis. So this point is over 2, so we would go back 2, and then this point is down 2, so we would go down 2. So over 2 and down, oops, down 1, sorry. That point is down 1, so we go down 1. There we go. So this point reflected, in other words, if I folded right along this line, these 2 points would match up with each other. They'd be one right on top of the other. Okay, there would be symmetry there. All right, so the new point then is back 2, which would be a -2, and then down 1, which would be a -1. So we're looking for -2, -1, and that's our last choice here. All right, so again, those reflections, you're just putting the point equidistance from the x or y axis as the original point. All right, this one says find the distance between the points 310 and 910. And so all we need to do for that is we're just counting the distance between the two. We could do some math here. We could say, well, because this is 3 on the x-axis and this is 9 on the x-axis, we could do 9 minus 3, and that would give us our answer, but we can also just count it. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 9 minus 3 is 6, and it's 6 spots away. And then one that's a little tougher because it straddles the positive and negative integers here. We want to go from 5, 5 to negative 10, 5. So we've got 5 units here to get over to this 5, and we've got 10 units here. We're taking the absolute value of 10 now. So this is 10 units here and 5 units here, so it's a total of 15. These distances will never be negative. They'll never be negative because we're talking about distance, and distance is always a positive. You always travel in a positive way when you do distance. Distance is never negative. All right, so that is this quiz. If you have any questions, this is the practice quiz. If you have any questions before you take the actual quiz, please make sure that you message your teacher.